look in the mirror, when I look in the mirror, baby, I see it clear. Why you wanna be nearer? I'm not surprised, I sympathize. I can't deny your appetite. You got a fetish for my...
Hey everybody, and thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with me and tuning into Amber Speaks 2. Again, I really appreciate it. I'm going to take a moment before we dive in and say, if you could please subscribe. If you like anything I'm saying, if you like the way, my makeup is, you like my color, my lipstick, or whatever it is, or, you like it, just even one thing that I said, anything that resonated with you, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe. I know this looks easy, but this takes time too, especially when you have a full-time job, you're a full-time parent, and juggling everything else that's thrown at me on a regular basis. So any love, likes, comments, especially subscribers, subscribing really helps me out, so I really appreciate it. So tonight we're gonna just dive in to episode 4, Ready to Love season 7. I tried to get this out to y'all early. I really did. Actually, my best friend, we were going to do this. I was going to feature her, and we're going to do a collaboration together. You guys will get a chance to meet her. She's super cool, super funny, super sweet. Y'all are going to love her. So hopefully she'll at least do, come out and hang out with me for 1 or 2 episodes for this season. And then probably maybe have her come back next season to kind of switch it up a little bit. I like to banter back and forth. And we've been best friends for, 14 years. So you guys can kind of see that play out. That'll be kind of fun. So anyway, we're going to jump right in. My mom is cooking tacos, okay? I'm still at my mom's house in Seattle. And so I won't be going home until the end of the week. And so she's cooking tacos, and they smell really, really good. And so I do want to speed this up because it smells so good right now. Anywho, jumping into episode 4. There was a lot to unpack, and and I really don't want to drag this one out. I like to keep it, a certain time frame because, I can get a little long-winded. So I'm trying to not bore you with the long-windedness. So the first thing I'm going to say is Andre. Now, if you check out my last episode, okay, I'm not going to get into all the deets. But if you check my last episode, my last review, I was stating that I felt like Andre seems like a solid guy, but I do believe that Cynthia, the kind of woman she is, and with her having children, with her having gone through a lot, etc., and I do feel like once she broke down, I do feel like he was like, ooh, it's getting real, I kind of find it funny because then come episode 4, Tommy announces he's got the COVID and he's not returning. Now, I don't want to say 100,000% sure that that it's not true, because I really don't know. I just find the timing pretty impeccable. That's all I'm saying. The timing was great. As soon as it started getting a little hot in the kitchen, I don't know what's going on. I just thought it was very convenient. I'll just say that. I thought it was convenient that he got the C-19. And again, it's not, it's not to say it's not true. If it is true, I'm hoping that he's, better now, and he was able to get through, and, when he did go through, I'm sorry, just months ago. So hopefully, it was not, he didn't get it bad. But I just thought the timing, was a little crazy. That's all I got to say about that. So I was bummed, though. I was bummed that he didn't stay, because I like Andre. I like his character on the show. So I definitely would have liked to see him stay and definitely see how things evolve with him and Cynthia. So I don't know. It is what it is. I'm just saying I said what I said, and I think it's the timing is pretty kind of crazy that he wasn't able to return, because there's been people on the show from previous season that caught the C-19 and came back to the show. So it's giving it's giving shit got real. But anyway, we'll see him at the reunion, so that'd be really interesting to see how that plays out on the reunion. Maybe no one else will question it, but just saying. I'm gonna the next thing I want to talk about is I don't know, the situation with I'll just say Jeffrey and Mark Anthony. So I'm just gonna go there. I see a lot of sexual chemistry between them. I really do. I feel like if she didn't have children and she was like without kids, because kids do make a difference. It's not a bad thing. I have a kid, so I get it. But I do believe that the dynamic would be a lot different. I feel like for someone like Mark Anthony, especially, he's 34 years old, or at the time he was 34 years old. And so I feel like with her having children, which he pretty much expressed, like when they were sitting there having a conversation, she's like, and she was direct. One thing I like that I can say, people can say whatever they want to say, but one thing I like about Jeffrey is that she does seem very direct, and she always seems very matter of fact. She seems like she knows exactly what she wants. She's coming to ask the questions that she needs, and that's just what it is. And she's not like sugarcoating anything, or like going around the bush. So, she was asking Mark Anthony, like, I have children. Are you okay with that? Is that something you can accept, et cetera, et cetera? And, he was saying all the right things. Like, I came from a blended family and da, 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 da. I don't know. Because he's so young, I just feel like he wouldn't be there mentally. That's a lot to take on. So you can come from a blended family and not want to blend your family, or not want to take on other children. That's a lot of responsibility. So in his confessional, he was saying more what I think he should have been saying to her. But I guess at the same time, you also don't want to come off like, saying it in a bad way, or saying it in a derogatory way. Like, I wouldn't expect him to say anything rude to her. But again, just being transparent, about where you are and how you feel. But, because there might be a little chemistry there, probably more sexual than anything, he's not going to say anything too crazy. He's like, no, absolutely, never, I don't want to take on other kids, or he's not going to say all that because he want to hit it. Just my thoughts. And then they did that kiss, when they did that, had that game on the boat, and they kissed. I thought that was interesting. Jeffrey didn't really have a choice, right? Because, what's his name? Andre was no longer there. But I guess she still had DeMario. So at least it looks like, if you look at it, almost seems like her and DeMario kind of had something going. And then Mark Anthony kind of just came out of nowhere. But then she gravitated more towards Mark Anthony. And it looks like DeMario was not feeling it. And now I'm wondering, is DeMario, he's starting to show a little bit more of his colors. Doesn't make him a bad guy. But when he stated that Jeffrey kissing Mark Anthony, for one, it probably was a hit to his ego, right? Because he's a man, he has pride, and I'm a man, I'm not a man, and most, us women, we not men, we have, pride to some degree too, but, men and their egos, it's like, you decide to go kiss Mark Anthony, over me, I could see how he would feel some kind of way about that, especially if he felt like they had a connection. But with him, like, stating that, and then on top of that, him caping for Corvea, getting into it with Mark Anthony, what it looked like, it was like, it just seemed like a lot, right? That he was being so over the top over Corvea, and I'm thinking to myself, for one, does he not know? Like, it's like, okay, either Corvea, like you've picked up on what she's putting out, or you're literally oblivious to it. And that tells me one or two things. If you know the kind of woman she is, like, you've picked up those vibes, you guys have the men's lounge where you guys talk about these things, I wouldn't be, surprised if you guys had a conversation off, off camera with each other about certain things. It just seems so weird that you wouldn't know anything about the type of woman that Corvette at least comes off as, when it comes to materialistic things and her wanting a man to do X, Y, Z and LMNOP. It's just, if you're accepting of that, okay, then you might have found a match in heaven. I'm hoping that you make enough ends for her. But if it's just a matter of, I think the other side of that is he could be oblivious to, who we have perceived her to be so far in this season. And if he's oblivious to it, then that's bad too. That's bad too. Kind of like how Sue Ann seems, I've been calling her Suzanne, sorry y'all, but how Sue Ann seems oblivious to Blake. Although I do feel with Sue Ann, I feel like she, like I said, my last review, go check it out. If you want to pause this and go check out the first one, you can, or just continue to watch this one and go back and watch this one. When I was stating, the young lady, it was Naya from that season, whatever season that was, Naya, when she stated she was obliging KG's interest. I do believe Sue Ann is obliging Blake's interest, but and it's a game, it's a game. To me, I haven't seen her having really any strong connections other than Blake. That's her strongest connection. I haven't really seen her make a connection with anybody else. Her definition of a connection, because I honestly don't see her and Blake connecting at all, to be completely honest. But I feel like you have two people. You have Sue Ann, who is willing to oblige his interests, right? She doesn't have any other strong connections with anybody else. And then on top of that, Blake, he don't have no strong connections with nobody else either. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that he is doing whatever he needs to do to keep Sue Ann where she is. And I do believe you can be optimistic about a person. I do believe, we all can see different sides of a person. However, if I were Sue Ann, I would have taken heed to what Jeffrey was saying. That's the part that I really don't like. I do feel like Sue Ann was really dismissive of Jeffrey for whatever reason. I don't know. And again, it is a competition, so she very well may have been dismissive because she's like, whatever, he hasn't been that way with me, so whatever. And in her mind, she's like, and this is a man who, has just got me a gift. He got me a gift, and he's into me, and he's saying all this and all that and whatever. But I just feel like Sue Ann is looking at it from a space of, I'm obliging his interest because there's really no one else I'm connecting with. And number two, it's a competition. Number three, I don't want you guys to have all these negative things to say about Blake, because if he goes home, then I have to start over, or I'll be on the chopping blocks next if I don't connect with somebody in within an episode time frame, pretty much. So I don't know. I really didn't. Okay, let's start with the conversation between Blake and Jeffrey. I really, really feel like there has to be something. Something had to have happened. He had to have rubbed her the wrong way, because her demeanor towards him was so like, how can I help you? What do you want? It was giving, how can I help you? And to me, I feel like there's no way that she would have that kind of demeanor towards someone with another cast member that's on the same show if something hadn't, for no reason. I really don't. I do believe that something had to have been transpired. Could she be being dramatic about the situation? It's possible. Women could be dramatic. I'm dramatic. It's not a woman or a man thing. I'm just saying, like, women can be dramatic. I know I can be dramatic when I'm telling a story, because it just adds more oomph to everything. Okay, even though I'm telling the truth, you got that little sugar on the spikes on it. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel that something had to have happened for her energy to be that way towards him in that conversation, it just makes me feel like there's no way that something didn't transpire or she wasn't rubbed the wrong way by him. And then the fact, and I agree with her, you pull me to the side, you say you have something to say, you're confronting me about something. I will be the same exact way. You're pulling me to the side to confront me about something, but you don't even know what you want to confront me about. Or you do know what you want to confront me about, but you don't want to tell me. I'm not going to play a cat and mouse game with you. I'm not going to do the whole clue, we're not expect or gadget. We're not doing none of that. Like, you need to tell me what it is you're pulling me to the side for. And so that way that I can address it accordingly and we can move forward and keep it pushing or not. And so for me, it just, I completely agree with her on that. Like, seriously, like, she definitely comes off like, you know, I'm here. You ask me a question. You want to talk to me about something. Tell me what you need to talk about and then we'll address from there. But if you're not going to say nothing, then you really are wasting your time and my time. And I'm done with it. So I agree with that. And then segue into the whole situation and the conversation with Sue Ann and Jeffrey. I do feel like Sue Ann was pretty dismissive. I mean, like I said, I feel like that conversation could have gotten even more heated. It definitely got heated. If it did get more heated, we didn't see it. But I feel like she could have came in a different manner. But they were having drinks for flowing and all these different things. So, you know, you got drinks, you know, everybody trying to have a good time. You know, it's kind of like, you know, I get it. I get why things can go left, you know, when you're dealing with when alcohol's involved or whatever the case is. I wonder if they both were sober, if Sue Ann was completely sober, if maybe she would have took that conversation in a different way. I don't know, but I definitely feel like she was dismissive. She could have got more down to the meat of it, and just communicated with Jeffrey a lot better in that situation. Because at the end of the day, we're women, right? And that's the problem today. That really is the issue. As a woman can come to you and say XYZ and do it in a very polite way and do it in a respectful way. And it's like, it still ends up going left. It's like, so if I was, you know, turned up Amber, right? How we know I can get. If I was turned up Amber, coming to a woman and coming at her all kind of sideways, it's like, then people would say like, okay, you could have handled that situation better, or, you know, if things went left or, you know, things got really bad, then it's kind of like, okay, as an adult, I could have handled that situation better. And then when I decide to handle things better and you still just acting like that, it's gonna make me feel like, okay, I should have turned up on you, because I definitely feel better turn. You know, I don't always like to take the high road. You know, sometimes I like to take, you know, whatever, the low road. I don't know. Sometimes I don't want to take the high road. But, you know, I feel like it's sad, because as women, you should be able to go and have a conversation, communicate effectively, and walk away from the situation on your grown woman-ish. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it's about. So the only thing that I don't like about it is I just wish she would have communicated a little bit better and been more receptive to what Jeffrey was saying. And if she was not telling the truth, or she was being dramatic about the situation or exaggerating the situation, it's going to come out anyway. So it doesn't mean that you have to, you know, act a certain way. And you guys are of a certain age. You're on national television. That was a little bit of a disappointing part on the show. I didn't really care for. You know, I don't think Sue Ann is a bad person at all. I just think that, you know, we all have our moments. You know, I've had plenty of moments. So so we all have our moments, but I just wish it would have been a little bit I wish it was well received, a better received, when Jeffrey was trying to communicate what she was going through. And again, that's another thing we go through as women. You know, we try to talk about our experiences with these men, you know, and you should not shame another woman or come down on another woman when we know these men be a mess. We know these things. So it's like, when you know these things, then you shouldn't shut down what another woman is saying, or be dismissive of what another woman is saying. At least listen to what she has to say, and then go from there, you know. So anyways, I don't want to drag that one out, but it was just a little disappointing. That's all. Okay, now back to kind of circle back around to the Corvea and DeMario situation. I was going to say Demario. Definitely feel like he was doing a lot. I definitely agree with Mark Anthony, and when he was like, we should save the lifeline or the second chance when it gets down to the wire, and I do agree. I feel like they can probably make a good decision right now. I don't feel like, because no one has any real strong connections like that, to be honest. So I feel like, why use it now? But then when relationships start getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and connections start, growing, then you can start, doing second chances and everything like that. But it's still early. I still feel like they could choose somebody and keep it moving. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on this next episode. DeMar was definitely doing a lot. I do feel like there could have been just a little piece of him that was, feeling some kind of way towards Mark Anthony, after that whole kiss with Jeffrey. So it could have been like, oh, you're trying to get rid of Corvea. Y'all trying to get rid of Corvea. She's up for elimination. And then the guy who is okay with not using the second chance was kissing all over, on Jeffrey. He's probably feeling some kind of way, like, oh, you're connecting, you're connecting. So I just think that there's a couple different reasons he probably was upset, and part of that is maybe because he didn't want Corvette to go home, because that's his strongest connection, and now he sees that Jeffrey and Mark Anthony is having a connection, and he's, that could put him in a bad position. But also that Mark Anthony is the one that's kind of spearheading, to not use the second chance right now, when he just got finished kissing his strongest connection, I think, from his perspective initially. So yeah, I don't know, there was a lot to unpack for sure on this episode. And you guys, how come I'm forgetting about Anthony? I literally don't remember Anthony. So when he popped up on the screen and he's like talking to Cynthia, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot this person. I forgot he was even on the show. I wasn't surprised Marcy is up, only because I don't think she has any real strong connections, and that whole thing with Tony, no. Anything with Tony, no. He just reminds me of, like, I don't want to put the pimp word on him, but pimp player, whatever you want to call it. It just seems, I wonder what his sign is. He's giving me, like, I don't know, Scorpio. Let me get three tries. I'm gonna find out what his sign is. I'm gonna see if I got it. I'm seeing Scorpio. He could potentially be a Leo. Any of those strong signs. Could be even a Cappy potentially, but I'm definitely going with stronger signs. I'm going with like could be even potentially a Taurus, but I'm going more so like Scorpio, Leo, maybe even potentially a Sagger. It's one of them, I promise you. Normally I say give me 3 tries, but I'm like, So I'm like Scorpio, Leo, could potentially be a Cap, B, and then runner up, I'll say Sag. But either way, yeah, he's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but he definitely is like connecting with everybody for all the wrong reasons. I don't know. I don't trust it. He just comes off so like he has an agenda. So I hate that Jonique cried on his shoulder. I really do. Jonique, you're so much better than that. We are supposed to run from men like that. Run, freaking run. So I hate that Jonique that she cried, because I'm like, Tony, okay, maybe like, who could she have cried to? And I think they would have maybe been like a lot more. Anthony, the guy that I said I didn't really see all season. I really don't even know who that is. Like, it's so weird, because when he popped up, like I said, when he's talking to Cynthia, I was just like, I forgot he was on the show. I swear, no shade, I forgot he was on the show. I feel like she could have cried to Anthony, though. He seems like a nice guy. Anywho, yeah, those are like the main things that I really seen tonight. It was a lot for sure. I do find it kind of okay. So Jeffrey being a country, what the one thing that stands out to me, I'd be like laughing about is Jeffrey. She's like, I'm a country girl. I'm a country girl. This country girl, you better treat this country girl right. You better not do bad by this country girl and 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 this. Hey, that's a song. I just made a song just now. Oh, ho, ho. So I just find it kind of crazy. She keeps saying how she's a country girl, but when she goes to the dang on horse stable, she's having a hard time on the horse. She's having a hard time on the damn bull. She's going through it on with all these farm activities and these country-like activities. So I find that kind of interesting as well. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. The last thing I'm going to touch on before I wrap this up is Tony. So Tony is definitely, yeah, him in the Morgan situation. I definitely think Morgan is being extra. Like, this is not your man. I don't know what's happening, behind the scenes of what we don't see, but this is not your man. This is not your husband. It's not your fiance. It's not even your boyfriend. So she definitely is coming off a little possessive over Tony. I can tell she's probably she could be the kind of woman that could be attracted to men like that. That player, guilty. I'm not judging, I'm just saying. But yeah, I don't like the fact that it seems like she's doing a lot over Tony, when Tony is not the kind of man you need to be going hard over, when he clearly is trying to connect with Marcia and Jonika, whoever. He's trying to connect with everybody. So I wouldn't be going too hard for him. But I did think it was funny how when they were all, meeting and doing the game on the boat, where he was like, she was like, the question was like, name the hottest people on the boat. And she named, what guy? It wasn't him. Was it Mark Anthony, or was it, I don't remember who she named, but it wasn't Tony. And so I thought that one was Linda. I'm not sure who it was, but it wasn't him. And he, the pride of a man who was probably used to getting women or getting his way. I know that probably hurt. But yeah, I thought that was super funny. And I definitely would did the same thing. Like, yeah. But it definitely, you can tell she's playing games. Like, you don't really mean that. You're just trying to get a reaction out of him. But I thought that was funny. But yeah, no, that's pretty much my thoughts and my perspective on this episode. Again, there's definitely a lot to say, but again, I don't want to just touch on the surface of it. I'll dig deep here and there when I feel like it's necessary, but definitely don't want to drag it out. The last thing I'm going to talk about is who I think is going home. It's tricky. I don't know. And it did make sense that Marcia was up, only because, again, she's not connecting with really anybody. I know I was between Jonique and Corvea last review. But now that I know it's like Corvea, what is it? What's her name? I just said her name. Marcia. And I forgot the other person. But either way, I'm thinking Corvea. No, Corvea might stay because DeMario went so hard for her. Oh, it was Jeffrey, I think. I don't think Jeffrey's going anywhere. So if I had to choose between Marcia and Corvea, interestingly enough, I might have to go Marcia, only because she has the least connections, the weakest connections, if there are any connections, and at least DeMario's going hard for her. So he might have, if she, he might have saved her if he won that argument. So that's my thought. That's my review. That's my opinionata, and that's about it. Make sure you come back and watch my review for episode 5. I'm pretty sure it's going to get more explosive. It's been, doing this pace, so I'm like, it's going up, so I like it. Please like, comment, subscribe. subscribe. And I will see you all next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Amber Speaks 2 and hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate it. Peace out.
Look in the mirror. When I look in the mirror,